Do you own a business and you're literally wanting to scale it? You want to grow, make more income, but you don't want to spend the hours and hours and hours daily that you think it would take to build it? Are you the person who started a business, you started a side hustle, but now it's becoming like a job? Or are you the person that you got a business, but what you basically did was buy your own 9 to 5, where you're working hours and hours and hours on end without the profits that you want? In this video today, I'm going to show you 3 of the easiest ways to help scale your business. You do it in half the time, so that way you can not only minimize the time that it's taking to pour in your business and put it in other things, but you're also going to maximize your reach and your ability to make sales and to secure more profits. And I'm going to show you how I did it in my business and how I use these 3 simple strategies that you can take that are going to be super simple. They're going to be the things that you probably heard people say do, but you haven't been doing them. And if you apply these and you do it the right way, you're going to see success. For most people in business, what do? They have a business that they have, but most of the people are entrepreneurs. They want to have a business. They may be making a few $1,000s. They may be making hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it feels like a job. Some people left their 9 to 5s and are actively making less in their business. Why? When spending more time, because they haven't figured out the way to scale and to sell more of their product or service easier. And I want to be honest with you guys. You're working hard does not mean you deserve to make more money. A lot of people have this mindset that they come in and say, if the people who work the hardest deserve to make the most money. That's not true. Because look at a company. The person who makes the least works more than the owner. If you go to a warehouse, the person putting together the pieces of a car that they're building at Ford is not making as much as the CEO, but they're doing more work. They're spending more hours daily working. And the best thing that you can do is figure out, how can I not try to focus on working hard, but how can I work smart? And I remember going through that in my business, where the first year I didn't make any money and I was working hours and hours every single day. I literally had a 9 to 5. I would come home from my 9 to 5, and from 5 to about 3 in the morning, I would just work on my business. I was putting in more time in my business than I was at my job, and I wasn't making more money. But eventually, when I switched and used these 3 tools that we're about to get into, it started changing for me. So the first strategies that I used to get more production out of my business with less time, less working, was learning how to build my personal brand. And I know you've probably heard this from lots of people, lots of gurus, a lot of mentors and coaches are teaching you and say, build an audience, build a personal brand. But what does that really mean? What does building a personal brand actually mean? Building a personal brand is you communicating what you like, what you dislike, and your philosophies and principles to your audience. Because I want you to understand this. People do not buy products. They buy people. So if you have a business and you're the face of the brand, you're the personal brand, ask yourself, what about you that you're portraying on social media, online, in your emails, and to your audience, what about you are you presenting to make people want to buy from you? And the easiest way to do that is share what you like, share what you dislike, share the principles and the values that you offer to the people that are watching your content, to the people that you're trying to serve. Whether you're trying to serve lawyers, whether you're trying to serve plumbers, whether you're trying to serve agencies, it doesn't matter the people, the customer, the target audience. But what you want to do is to get to a point where you're showing them your core principles, your values, and to getting successful. I think one of the most things people get wrong with a personal brand is that they're trying too hard to be different. What you should be focusing on is becoming you, because you're different. God created every single person different. I'm different from you. You're different from the person that's your best friend. You're different from your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your cousin, your sister, your brother. Every person is different. So the way you stand out is by being you. Not trying to do some crazy stunt to try to get views. Not trying to say crazy things to go viral. That stuff lasts for a season and is gone. And most of those people that tune into that are not going to buy what you're trying to sell. But how you get people to buy what you're trying to sell is to become you and not trying to be anyone else. There's lots of people on the internet who are trying to be the next Alex Hormozy or the next Dan Kennedy or the next Russell Brunson or the next Oprah Winfrey or the next whoever. No, don't worry about being the next them. Become the next you, because people are going to gravitate to you. You have a person that they're only going to listen to you for that thing. They may not listen to the 15 other competitors in your industry, but when they hear you say it, because you have your own personality, you have a way of thinking, you have certain beliefs that they align with, they're going to say, oh, this is my person. And the reason why you can start scaling quickly with a personal brand is because when people like and know you, they want to buy from you. And people that trust you, that's the key to getting people to buy, is trust. And that's the one thing that is happening in the market right now, that if you can get people to trust you, they will spend any amount of money with you. I want you to think about it like this. If I came knocking at your door and we've never met, you're likely going to look at the door and be like, who are you? Why are you here? Because you don't trust me. You don't know me. All right? I'm just coming to your door and knocking. But think about if your best friend came at your door and knocked. You're going to be like, oh, so-and-so, come in. Why? Because you trust them. You have rapport. You like them. So the key, especially in the 2024 and going into past this, you have to be focused on intentionally building your personal brand. Whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it doesn't matter. You need to be showcasing your energy, your personality, who you are to the masses, so they want to hear and buy and know who you are. And that's going to be the greatest thing that can change for you. But while you're building a personal brand, what else helps you is delegating tasks and starting to build a team. I remember my business, when I started building a personal brand, I saw my sales go up. Like I said, my first year I didn't make anything. My 13th month, I was able to do more sales in that 1 month than we did in our whole year prior, because I built a brand. But then I started having to delegate so I can multiply my efforts. There's no such thing as duplication. Listen, the person that you're going to hire, the people that are going to be in your team are not going to be able to duplicate you. Because like I said earlier, there's only one you. But what they can do is multiply your efforts. And what you should be focusing on your team is finding the quantity over quality. You don't need a huge team. A lot of people, they get into business and they want to say, okay, they want to say, I have the most employees, I have the biggest team, I have the most locations. No, that's not what you should be focused on. You should be focused on, how can I maximize the profits that I want to make with the most minimum team as possible. I want you to think of it like if you're in the military. If you go to the military, the number one force is going to be the U.S. Navy SEALs. They are sent on the hardest missions. They're sent on some of the most important missions, like when they were fighting terrorism in the Middle East. And what did they do? They had a team of 6. They have a team of 6 or 7 people that go out and execute missions that makes or breaks wars. They're not looking at having thousands upon thousands of soldiers fight. They're picking the most skilled people, training them to have every single piece of skill that they need. And they're taking that small team and being deliberate and intentional and getting a job done that most other military branches could not get done. What does that mean for your business? It doesn't matter. Who cares if you have 20 employees if the production isn't good? Who cares if you have a team of 100 people if you're not producing? You need to find the quantity of people and be okay to train them. And one thing I teach the people that I talk to and people I coach and mentor, I teach them about the law of advancement. And what does that mean? Something has to go down before it goes up. And how does that apply to business and building a team and being deliberate? When you first start building a team, when you first hire somebody, your production naturally goes down. Why? Because of the learning curve that it takes for them to be able to start producing at a result. And most business owners, most entrepreneurs, what happens for them is they start building a team, and a person in their first month, first 2 months, first 3 months does not produce at the level that they were producing. So they either fire them or try to do it themselves, and they're covering up what, instead of saying, you know what, let me build this person up, let me really train them and let them fail and let them production be low, so that way in months 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I start actually seeing a return on the investment where I'm starting to produce the same amount that I was producing, which frees up more time for you to do other things in your business that matters. And if it was me, if it's just you have a small business, maybe you're making 5 or 6 figures, the first person that you should hire is somebody in sales. Why? Because sales is the blood of the business. If you're not making more sales, you're not making more money, which you can now invest in marketing or in building automation, building systems, building the other things that you need in your business to be successful. So number one, you have to have a personal brand. In 2024 and what's happening in the world around us, you need to have a personal brand. You need to be seen. You need to be known. People need to like and trust you so they want to buy from you. Then you need to start focusing on delegation. How can I delegate the things in my business that I don't like to do or that I'm not that great at? How can I delegate those things to other people, teach them the way I would do them so they can be successful, and that way I can start building a team that leads on success. And the third thing, one thing that really changed it for me, was developing a talk and speaking to masses. If you learn how to speak to sell, you're going to be more successful than most people. Why? Because it's easier to sell one to many than to sell one-on-one at scale. Why? Because instead of having 50 phone calls with people, with each individual person with 50 people, I can get in a room of 50 people and talk. And the way humans work, the way the natural psychology of people work, is that when they're in a group of people and you see one person want to go do something, that the psychology of other people is they want to do it too. So when I started learning how to speak, when I started learning how to sell from stage, when I started learning how to be able to give a presentation and present to people and learn how to get the masses involved, my business skyrocketed to where the point where I was doing phone calls. I was having people booking calls with me, and I was closing them. And we were closing about 67%. But then I really doubled down on learning how to speak, learning how to give presentations on, maybe it's a live event at a hotel or at an auditorium, maybe it's a Zoom, maybe it's a Instagram Live, maybe it's a challenge, whatever you decide. If you have an event, it can really change the game for you, to the point where I would have 50, 100 people on a call, and we would close and sell to half or more of the call. So I remember one time I did an event and every single person in the room bought the product. Why? Because we made a decision to say, we're going to get really good at speaking and presenting and learning how to talk about the product. Listen, you can sell the same thing as every person in the world. Listen, there's 10 people selling the same thing that you probably personally know. You can go on Instagram, type in, or YouTube, type in, there's somebody selling something that you're already selling. But how do you separate yourself? Learning how to speak about it better. Learning how to make analogies to make it easier for people to understand. So that way you can influence the masses and have them want to buy your product, and it makes it easier for you. So that way you don't have to build a huge sales team. You don't have to have a call center of 30 salespeople trying to sell. No, you can do an event, get 100 people in an event, and guess what? You close. If you close at 30%, you just close 30 people saying one talk at one time, instead of spending all the time it would take to try to call hundreds of people individually. And that would save you hours. A 1 hour talk, you could make the same as you would spend in 30 hours talking to individual people. But I want you to understand that lots of people have heard this information, but it's about execution. It's about just doing the action. Most people are trying to figure out, I got to get better. The best way to get better at doing these 3 things is doing it. Putting out the videos, putting out the content so you can build your brand. Just hire, if you have the money, hiring people and saying, okay, let me just teach them how to do it. I know it may be scary. I don't know if I can, if I'm ready to have a person. But if you're at that point, you just got to jump out and do it. And learning how to speak, hiring somebody, or really listening to speakers, listening to other people present, and developing a talk. That way you can sell your product to the masses. And if you do all those 3 things, it's going to be easier for you to scale your business and make more money and not have to work 18 hours a day, 15 hours a day, 10-hour days for you to be successful, where you can work 3, 4, 5-hour days. I was at the point in my business where I was working about 4 hours a day, 4 hours a day for about 5, 6 days a week. And we were doing almost $250,000 in sales a month. Why? Because we made a decision and said, we're going to learn these 3 things and we're going to execute those. And I executed with my team and we saw success. But listen, if you enjoyed this video, what I want you to do is share this one video with one of your friends or one of your business partners or somebody who would need this video. Because that's all I ask. I'm doing this video for free because I want to just give y'all value, give you content, give you things that can help you get to the next level. All I ask is you just send this to one person that would need it and help them out. Our job is not just to keep the information for ourselves, but to be a blessing. Listen, I can't wait to see you in the next video, guys, and I can't wait to see you.